Okay, B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh v'Natzliach. We are on Daf Yud Dalet, page 14. It says, "Uveprakim shoel mipnei hakavod u'meshiv shalom l'chol ha'adam." L'chol ha'adam. So, in between the different chapters of Shema, you can say Shalom Aleichem to somebody you need to respect, like your rabbi, like your mother, father, grandfather. And if somebody tells you Shalom Aleichem, it's disrespectful not to answer them. The guy's going to get offended. So you can say Shalom to what? Everybody. Tanya na mihachi hakore teshema vepaga bo rabo. If you're saying the Shema, and guess who comes to give you a visit and comes to see you? Your rabbi, or gadol hemenu, or your older brother that you need to respect. Biprakim, in between the chapters, like between Uchtavtam of the first paragraph of Shema and Vahayim Shamoa, Shoel mipnei hakavod, you can say Shalom Aleichem, how are you? Ve'en sarich lomar shehu meshiv. And of course, you can do what? You can answer. And here I wrote in parentheses, mipnei hakavod. According to this, this train of thought, you're allowed to answer somebody that you need to respect. Be'emsa shoel mipnei hayirah, in the middle of the chapter of Shema, for example, ben ukshartam uktavtam, somebody that you fear, like a sergeant of the military. You know, sometimes there's sorer. If you don't say shalom to him, he's gonna. Ube'emsa shoel mipnei hayirah, be'en sarich lomar shehu meshiv. And of course, somebody that you fear, somebody could hurt you. For sure, him, you're allowed to do what? You're allowed to
tell him shalom.
Answer shalom to him. Because something you have to keep in mind is much more disrespectful if somebody tells you shalom not to answer, not to reply. These are the words of Rab Meir. Rabbi Yehuda Omer be'emsa shoel mipnei hayirah u'meshiv mipnei hakavod. No, in the middle of the Shema, you're allowed to ask and greet somebody that you fear and answer the greeting of somebody you respect. U'meshiv mipnei hakavod. Biprakim shoel mipnei hakavod u'meshiv shalom l'chol ha'adam. And during the prakim, which means in between the chapters, you're allowed to ask Shalom Aleichem, somebody that you respect, and answer Shalom Aleichem, reply to the greeting of anybody. Ba'u minei achi Tanya deber Rabbi Chia mi Rabbi Chia. So the brother of the yeshiva Rabbi Chia asked Rabbi Chia, what's the law by Hallel u'Megillah? Are you allowed to answer and ask people Shalom Aleichem, how are you? Reply to their Shalom Aleichem. Mahu sheyafsik. Are you allowed to interrupt your prayers to ask people how they're doing? Mi amrinan kal v'chomer kriyat shema deoraita posek Hallel miderabanan mi bai? Do we say, well, Hallel and Megillah is from Rabbanan, so kal v'chomer, if I something that's so strict as Shema I'm allowed to interrupt, for sure something that's more lenient, like what? Hallel, I can interrupt it and say what? Shalom Aleichem. Gemara says no. Or perhaps maybe we can use another train of thought. And what is that train of thought? The other type of train of thought is like this. That Okay, or perhaps, O Dilma, Persuma Nisa Adif. That we read Hallel or we read the Shema is more greater. You know why? Because you are like Hanukkah lights. You're emphasizing and advertising the greatness. So it's more special than Shema, maybe, perhaps. So Gemara says, Amar le posek ve'en bekach klum. In between the chapters, you can interrupt it, and there's no problem whatsoever. Amar Rabba Yamim Shayachid Gomer Bat Halel Ben Perek LePerek Posek Be'emsa Perek in a Posek. This is actually the halacha that the days that you finish the Hallel, because the Sephardim we only say Hallel Gamur and with a bracha. We only say bracha when we do the full Hallel. So on those days between each chapter, and it's all Tehillim, you know that. You're allowed to interrupt and say Shalom Aleichem. But in the middle of the chapter of Hallel, you should not. Be'emsa perek eno posek. Be'yamim she'ena yachid gomer ba'em Hallel afilu be'emsa perek posek. On the days that we do not finish saying the Hallel, like Rosh Chodesh, we don't even say bracha, the Sfardim. That even in the middle, you could, somebody asks you Shalom Aleichem, you can answer. But again, I want to say the post can bring down nowadays, if you show the guy your Sidur, and you know, in the end, you have to understand something historically. In older days, to print a book was like 1 in a million. It was too expensive. They didn't have printing presses only 500 years ago. So a lot of people wouldn't know you're praying, especially if you were praying by yourself. That's why it was different. But nowadays, if you can avoid talking in the middle, you just show the guys your Siddur and tell them after, it's more better. I just want to read the Shulchan Aruch here. It says, En la suach bot shekorim ota. Shulchan Aruch says, while they're reading the Megillah and Hallel, you should not talk in between. And Shulchan Aruch continues here, Gomrim Hallel en mafskim bo'el kejerim b'kriyat Shema. Hallel, the Shulchan Aruch says, has the same laws as Shema, which means kederech she'amru b'kriyat Shema be'emsa perek sho'el mipnei shalom. The halacha is that in the middle of the chapters of Shema, you're allowed to say shalom, somebody that you need to respect, like your father, mother, grandfather, somebody older than you. Aviv or Rabo, your father or your rabbi. Umeshiv shalom. And you're allowed to answer shalom to what? Somebody that is also exalted and respectable. And in between the chapters, the Shulchan Aruch says you can ask shalom. You can greet shalom to somebody that is respected, and you can answer shalom to everybody. But you should know, the Shulchan Aruch also says this is in the previous days when people didn't have Sidurim. Like I said a second ago, it was a miscommunication. People will get offended. But nowadays people see you have a Sidur, you're praying. It's better not to ever interrupt your Shema or Megillah or Hallel, because everybody what? Nowadays knows that it's not the time. You're praying to God right now. You're talking to a higher authority. You should not mess around. So we're going right before the white lines. The Gemara says, Eini, but this is not so, because right before we said in the middle of Hallel, when you don't make a bracha, it's not so important. You're allowed to interrupt. We saw that Ravina, he told him Shalom Aleichem, he didn't respond. So, but you said on Rosh Chodesh that you don't say bracha of Hallel, you're allowed to interrupt. Why didn't? So it says Shana Rav Bar Shava de lo chashiv alei de Ravina. So it says, the problem was Rav Ina was such a much of a bigger rabbi than Rav Shila that he didn't think that Rav Ina needs to respect him. That's why he was in the middle of Hallel. He did not pay attention to him. He didn't interrupt. You understand? Only because he was much younger than him, or he was much smaller Talmud Chacham, and he didn't think it was worth it for me to interrupt. Okay, moving right along in the white lines. Ba mine ishan taned be Rabbi Meir Ravami hashoroi batanit ma'u shit'om. Okay, we know, like for example, the eve of Shabbat, to amea chaim zachu. A good professional cook always going to check his food before he serves it to make sure it's not too peppery, is enough salt. So a woman that's cooking on a fast, like Tish'a B'Av, or a few days ago was Asarat, the fast of what? Is a woman allowed to, she's making soup and dinner or lunch for her kids, is she allowed to taste it? To see if it has enough seasoning or, right? Maybe she only accepted on herself or on himself. Sometimes, men are even more professional cooks. Maybe they only accept upon themselves to do what? Not to eat. The haleka, and they're not eating, so they could taste it. O dilma, or maybe perhaps hanahaka bilaleyuvaika. When you're fasting, you're accepting on yourself what? Not to have any pleasure. And this is what? Pleasurable. Amar le to'en ve'en bekach klum. He said you can there's no problem. You can do what?
You can taste it.
Taste it and there's no problem. Halachically, this is the halacha. I'm going to tell you in a second. Tanya nami hachi metamenet eno teona beracha. Same thing. If you want to taste the food, you don't want to eat it, and you spit it out, you don't even need to say bracha on it. V'hasharui b'ta'anit. And somebody that's fasting, en bakach klum. There's no problem for him to taste the food, to make sure it's cooked properly before he serves it to his children. Because children don't need to fast. Or like say a husband is cooking for his pregnant wife that doesn't need to fast. I'm going to tell you. So I'm going to read you the Shulchan Aruch because we try to emphasize the halachic ramifications of this. Ad kama, and how much are you allowed to taste to and not make a bracha or on a fast? Gemara says ad shiur revita, until 3 ounces. So let's say there's a soup, you want to make sure that chicken soup, it has enough salt. You're allowed to even taste it a few times or a few different pots until you get to 3 ounces. Let me read you the Shulchan Aruch. The Shulchan Aruch says like this: Hasharui betanit yachol litom kedei revi'it uvivat sheiflot. This is actually halacha, believe it or not, on any fast. Not Yom Kippur and Tisha B'Av, but any other fast besides Tisha B'Av and Yom Kippur, they're allowed to taste the food, even up to 3 ounces, like 2.9 ounces, to make sure that it has. But you're not allowed to swallow the food. You have to what? That's a big caveat. You have to spit it out on the fast. And Yom Kippurim, since it's from Torah and Tisha B'Av, which is a mirror image of. We never taste.
If you guys spit out, who cares for 3 hours? And
it says, the Ramah says, the Ashkenazim hold that on every fast they're machmir, and they don't taste. He says that's their minhag.
What's the difference between 3 ounces and 4 ounces if you guys spit it out?
And that's the same thing. הטועם את התבשיל אינו צריך לברך עד רביעית, ואפילו יש אומרים שהוא בולע טעון ברכה, ולא פטרו לטועם כשהוא פולט. Same thing by bracha, the Shulchan Aruch paskins, which means if you don't need to make a bracha as long as you spit something out, right? You taste it and spit it out. But some say if you taste it and you want to swallow it, then you need to make bracha. Maran says, right? She'im hu velo patro lekesho polet eno sarich beracha. And the bottom line is Safek Berachot La'akel. So therefore, even really lechatchila, the right thing to do halachically is if you just want to taste the food, you don't need to make a bracha. Better to spit it out. If you ended up being so tasty and you think that, yes, what's your question? Quickly.
When we spit out, what do need the
What?
measurement? We spit
Why is
out.
it 3 ounces, 4 ounces?
What, 3 ounces, 1
Okay,
ounce?
3 ounces.
No, so it's saying, yes, no, he says, you can't fill up your mouth, you understand?
You can spit it out.
Because it's going to be hard to spit it out
No,
anyways.
I
But it doesn't
spit out.
matter. It doesn't matter. It says it should be something, you shouldn't try to cheat the system. You think, because if it's a big thing, then it's disgusting to spit it out. It's going to be hard to spit it out. I think that's the pshat. Anyways, we're moving right along. So it says, Amar Rav. Kol anoten shalom lechavero kodem sheitpalel kilu asa bama. This is why, by the way, the Gemara says you're not allowed to, it's like you created if you say shalom to your friends before prayer, it's like you created a inferior altar to God. Because first you have to say shalom to God. Why are you going and saying shalom to other people? שנאמר, חידלו לכם מן האדם אשר נשבע פה, כי במה נחשבו? אל תקרא במה אלא במה. It's like what? You're giving more honor to people than to God? Which means the Gemara basically is saying it's not a time to socialize before prayer. You wake up, you do your netilah, you say your Rigat Shachar, you go pray, then you could go say Shalom Aleichem to everybody. And Shmuel says, yeah, exactly. Why are you going respecting your neighbor and friend more than God? But this is a stira to our Mishnah, because our Mishnah says before you said Hashem Sefatai, you're allowed to in Shema say shalom to people. So how are you allowed to say shalom? You said it's like you're doing a big sin. So Gemara says, Tirgam Arav Abba b'mashkim lepitcho, which Rashi says, you shouldn't go to all of your neighbor's house before davening and say, oh, good morning, how are you? That's what it's the Gemara saying. But if you, on the way to shul, you see somebody, you can greet him, right? And I believe that is the halacha. That's why, by the way, there's the Gemara, we're going to have it later in Berachot. We're going to skip the lines. By the way, we're going to have it later in Berachot. That's why, parenthetically, we always say good morning before tefillah. Safra tova. We don't say shalom. You understand? Because some say that the problem is saying the word shalom, but good morning is different. So that's what we learned. If you look, we're gonna have this again. The Gemara is going to go in more depth. Amar Rabbi Barav in our excavation. This is actually important in halacha. A lot of people don't know. It's unfortunate. You can't go and make a business deal or go to the bank before shacharit. You pray. Don't run your errands. And this is the halacha also. Shulchan Aruch says, because what's going to happen is maybe you're going to get into a business deal. You're going to do the bank teller made a mistake, and then you're going to miss Zeman Tefillah. So you wake up, you pray, priority number one. You don't eat breakfast, you don't do this, then you go. Shene'emar, Sedek lefanav ya'alech v'yasim l'derech pa'amav. It says, first go, Sedek, do the righteous thing, and then go on your way. V'amar Ravid bar Ishan, kol ha'mitpalel v'achar kach yotze l'derech Hashem oseh chavatzav. And actually, Shulchan Aruch and Rambam bring this halachically. This is going to cause you to be successful in your endeavors, right? When you first pray and then go to the bank, then go seal the deal, go do your business. I just want to bring down, poskim say, there's a machlogan in the poskim where Erev Shabbat, it's such a big mitzvah to buy food for Shabbat that it could be, that's an exception to this rule. You said for a mitzvah it's different. But this is saying your private matters. שנאמר, סדק לפניו יהלך וישים לדרך פעמיו. אמר רב יונה מזרע כל, הלן שבעת ימים בלא חלום נקנה רע. If you have 7 days that you didn't have a dream, you're considered like bad. This doesn't apply anymore. Before they used to have more dreams. שנאמר, בסבע ילין בא לבכות רע, אל תקרא seva ela sheva. It says if you were satiated and you didn't see a dream, it's bad. The Gemara says don't say sava ela sheva. So because God, see Rashi says over here, al tikra sheva la sava ela sheva, yalin bal yifkod min hashamayim b'chalom, hareu ra, lekach ein mashkechin lifkod ko. Dream is a way of God talking to you. So why God isn't communicating you through dream? So it must be that you're not important to God anymore. So that's why it says God doesn't care about you so much more that you didn't see dream for 7 days. So it says, Amar Rav Achia berei de Rav Chia, Amar Rav Chia, Amar Rabbi Yochanan kol hamaspia atzmo b'divrei Torah belan en mavesrin oto b'surot ra'ot. If you learn, the Rambam says, for example, the best time to learn is night, because night you don't have business anymore. So he says, if you satiate your soul, that's why it's so important to learn Daf Yomi. Just like you need to eat every day, you need to learn Torah every day. So it says, if before you sleep, what happens? You learn a lot of Torah, you're not going to have bad dreams. You're not going to have bad news. Right? You're not going to have nightmares. When you satiate yourself, not with food, but you fill up your mind and heart with Torah, then you don't say. These are considered between the chapters. This is actually the halach in Shulchan Aruch. Also, as the Gemara says, we never are allowed to make a interruption between saying Hashem Elokechem Emet at the end of Shema and Vayatziv, Benachon, V'Chayam, and Ne'eman, V'Ahuv. We shouldn't interrupt there and say Shalom or greet Shalom, even if the guy you respect is your father, your rabbi, it doesn't matter. My time of the review, what is the reason? So next page we will continue.